All right, everyone. So, Wrestling Inc. has this headline: Triple H comments on Goldberg's legacy following retirement match. So, we're going to read down here. If I had to say one word about his legacy, intensity. He said on the post evolution presser, Bill, first of all, as a human being, is very intense. He had like this incredible whirlwind career, and sometimes people criticize him unfairly or come at him. What was he supposed to do? Say no? He looks like he does. They bring him in, they stick him right on TV. He doesn't know what he's doing, and they just got him doing all this stuff, and it's crazy and it's incredible. People are going crazy in Atlanta. It was 40,000 people at the stadium for a TV, him and Hogan on TV. He did incredible, had an incredible career. I have nothing but respect for Bill as a performer and a human being, and I think he did an incredible job. So, I love a lot of what Triple H says there. And to me, I always judge in wrestling, I always judge a performer by when I think of the era he wrestled in, how quickly does his name come to mind? The people that come to your mind right away, right, that you could rattle them off, I give them a boost, right? I view them like same thing with the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era was so stacked with stars that there's a lot of guys from that era that in a lot of other eras would have been main eventers, but instead were kind of stuck in the mid card because it was just such a good era. But those guys, to me, I still view them in the same way I view kind of main eventers because they had that type of impact, and I think about them almost immediately, right? I think about them almost immediately. So that's how I feel about Goldberg. When you think about WCW, one of the first names that comes to mind, obviously, the Hollywood Hogan, you have the NWO, you have Eric Bischoff, but Goldberg, it's pretty quickly that his name comes up. Obviously in WWE, maybe his name wouldn't come up as quickly, but that carries over. And even the retirement match, I thought it was really, really, really well done. Um, I would have liked to have, to be honest with you, I was really hoping he won the match, and I was hoping that Seth Rollins came in or something and cashed in. Obviously, Seth Rollins ended up getting hurt, so that felt like it was a little bit out of the question, anyways. But that's what I wanted to happen. But I understood why Gunther won. I understand the view of wrestlers is, you kind of give on your way out, right? You lose to somebody to give them that boost, and you could tell Goldberg he was struggling in there, right? He was really, really struggling in there. And it wasn't in a bad way in the sense of like, oh, the match looks terrible. No, he was just, he was trying to make sure that he got through his retirement match, and he delivered a long match. I thought for sure this would be a short thing. I thought for sure, okay, they're going to do 5-10 minutes on this. And I believe it was 25 minutes. So kudos to him for delivering a 25-minute match. We got to see a lot of cool moments. And just having him back in the ring one more time was cool enough in itself. And I do think, it's one of those what ifs with Goldberg in the sense that I'm pretty sure it was like 2 or 3 years before he was able to come over to the WWE because they had guaranteed contracts with WCW, so they didn't really need to do anything, right? They weren't going to rip up their old guaranteed contracts to go work for WWE. They were going to just sit them through. So because of that, it extended a little bit longer before some of these guys made their initial WWE return. And if that was the case, had they come over right away, you'd wonder how much, I don't want to say better, but how much better it could have been, right? You wonder what impact, especially early on, that could have, everyone always kind of talks about how the invasion storyline from WCW just wasn't great compared to what it could have been because you didn't have those top guys in WCW coming over, right? You didn't have the NWO for a little while. You didn't have Goldberg for a little while. And when he did, obviously he was Goldberg and he was great, and he's been great over the years. But I also love that Triple H brings up, the idea of like people kind of blame him for things that really aren't necessarily his fault, right? Like WCW pushed him right away. WCW wanted him to have that style of match. And so Triple H is right. What is he going to say? No, like, oh, I'm not ready for that yet. Of course he's not going to say that. And Goldberg, you know, as real as wrestling is in the sense that what it takes to get in that ring and to do what they do is crazy. It's insane. It is as athletic as any other sport. But obviously the storylines are all scripted. So having Goldberg, dominate the way he did, all that matters is the fan reaction. All that matters is, do the fans care? Do the fans like it? This idea that wrestling, there's some, well, I don't care if the fans like it. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just not someone that really buys into that. If the fans like the way Goldberg carries himself, they like the way he wrestles, they like his character, then you buy into it, right? And it's a good character. That's to me the bottom line. So, thank you all for watching. Put in the comment section below what you thought about the match and what you hope to see from Goldberg in the future. Obviously, he's not going to be in matches anymore, but could he return to WWE television in some way? Who knows? Thank you all for watching.